What's up, internet? Bow to the Dow, back again with my first impressions of Starfield. This game has had two divided camps leading up to release, either a new top-tier game or severely overhyped. I'm here to give you some ideas and let you decide for yourself, but I think that this game delivers on the promises that it's made. There's a thing or two that I'm not super fond of, but it starts us off with a typical Bethesda intro. Remember, this game is made by Bethesda, so we get the typical starting scene where you're, some outcast or criminal or whatever. They ask you who you are, what you're up to, and they toss you right into character creation.
You know who you are?
Being part of a Bethesda game, they've done so many things so well. You have Skyrim levels of exploration, and you have the New Vegas style of dialogue and depth of lore, and it does things so incredibly well. And for example, starting off the character creation menu, it'll let you mess around with so many little widgets and sliders and create exactly the character you want to. It's the most in-depth character creator that I've ever seen, and in fact, it's the most in-depth game I've ever seen. I think I can honestly say that. Now, I'm not one that will typically spend so much time on character creation. I kind of fly through it, and my perspective is that, well, I'm going to cover it up with armor and stuff anyways. I'm not going to spend all that much time looking at my character. But don't worry. Even if you love this and you want to change later, there are places in-game where you can go and you can get back to the character creator and re-customize your guy if you want it to be different once you're there. One thing I did notice, though, is look at this cute little cat tattoo. Oh my goodness, I love kitty cats, and I am super stoked to see him in here. So funny. So funny. I will end up with a character that I've just kind of generated. Turns out it looks a little bit like myself, except for those eye colors. But we get here to the background. Now, this part's really important when you're starting up. Make sure you look and read carefully for all of these. There's a whole perk tree system, which we'll talk about later in the video, but whatever background you take here, those three are your first perks that you already have. And there's a lot of good ones, and there are some that don't seem as great, like gastronomy is cooking, but I feel like that might actually be really good too. I just don't have it yet. But you have from ship perks to make you fly faster, shoot stronger, whatever, but security right here, I found there's stuff everywhere to lockpick and unlock, and I can't take it if I can't get in. So I have a lot of points in security. I think it's a really good one. And so is persuasion, so that you can influence conversations and such. Both of them seem to come up a lot, and I really like the systems. I'll show them to you later as we go in. I do have to say that I don't like that this file not found one doesn't let you pick your own. That's sad to me. I wish. You have science perks, you have research perks, you have social perks, but you'll pick one of those and you'll get here to picking your traits. You can have 0, you can have 1 or 2 or 3. Pick whatever you want. Some of them are not compatible with each other. There's religious ones, there's guild ones, and there's some that are just kind of on their own. They all have positives and negatives. Take whatever you want. I don't think it really matters here, except wanted at the bottom of the list seems to be really good. I like that one a lot. The game will kind of proceed to throw you in with very few tutorials, which I think is a good thing. I don't like hand-holding, and I like figuring it out on my own. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Once you've made your way a few minutes into the game, you'll hop on your ship and you'll take off, and we'll talk about flying and landing on planets in a little bit, but kind of right off the bat, you'll get a ship combat thing, which I want to talk about first. The ship combat is honestly, it's exhilarating and complex and a little bit difficult. On the bottom left side, you have all these points distributed. You can shift through and you can change your points to other things and take power out of the shields and put it into your guns if you want. You have to decide whether to shoot your laser weapons or your ballistic weapons or shoot missiles, and it all kind of depends on, their shield levels and whether you're trying to board or blow them up or whatever. But honestly, it's pretty fun. It's pretty great. I really like the ship combat. However, besides the combat, and there's stuff up here to explore, the actual act of spaceflight might be one of the few things that's sadly lacking in this game, because you will take off from the spaceship and it's not manual. You'll just kind of click a button and your person will take off. You can't fly yourself from one planet to another or even to its moon. You are going to use a menu and you're going to pick where you want to go, and it's going to jump you there. You're going to use your grav drive and jump to a new place. And then you're going to use a menu and you're going to land at that place. You're not actually going to be taking off from a planet yourself, flying to a new planet yourself, and landing wherever you want yourself, which they led us to believe that that's kind of how it was going to work. But very sadly, that is one of the parts that's missing. I hear, like No Man's Sky, that's exactly what you would do. It's all you do it yourself. You take off, you fly to a place, you land. But in this game, it's kind of just a transition between planets. Although there's still all kinds of stuff to do up there, but it's all in orbit of a planet. Once we've landed, we will exit our ship. We'll head out and see what this new world holds for us. There are lots of creatures that are all different depending on what planet you've landed on. We've got a trilobite here, pretty cool. But you can also check out on your little compass thing the atmosphere conditions, the gravity that's on the planet, which is different for like all 1,000 different planets. They've all got their own unique things. Each unique planet also has their own resources, so you might find yourself going to this planet or that planet trying to find a certain material. Like I think right here I'm getting iron and lead, some fairly common ones. But visiting all the planets and finding the particular resources that they all have is going to help you do all sorts of things. From, building your outpost to making upgrades to your weapons and making medicine. And it's not just the resources, though. There's all sorts of stuff to loot. All kinds of random stuff that doesn't actually do anything, but you can pick it up if you want to. Pliers, circuit boards, fans, wrenches, but obviously ammo and weapons and iron and all that kind of stuff, too. When you're gathering resources, you can pull up this menu, this circle thing that's going on, and it will kind of highlight things in blue. Helps you find the resources, but I've also found it super useful to find the, little hidden things, which they've done a really good job hiding all over the place. There's cool stuff hidden in corners and under boxes and back between barriers that you wouldn't think to look, so make sure you're paying attention. But each thing has its own rarity. You'll see as I hover like a blue dot, or this one has purple dots. It's rare, epic, and then there's gold ones that are legendary. You'll take all these resources, you'll bring them to a particular workbench like Fallout has. Like here's a medicine one where I can make bandages and healing and paste and drugs, and there's also cooking benches, weapon and armor benches, research benches. But moving on to lockpicking, I just want to give a special shout out to the lockpicking thing. I think this is a really good system, and I feel like somebody else has done it before, but I can't recognize where I've seen this. I just really like this system. It's thought-provoking, it's like slightly challenging, but you can still figure it out, and you can and it all works together, and it's punishing if you get it wrong, but as you put levels it gets easier. You open up the box, you find your loot, and you move on. Now, we talked about rarity before, and here in this container I find a piece of armor that's purple, so it's epic. The rarity things when it comes to weapon and armor is interesting because it determines how many perks it has. Like, rare blue ones will have 1 extra perk, purple will have 2 extra perks, and legendary will have 3 extra perks. And speaking of weapons and armor, let's transition to combat now, get into the good stuff. Now, the first thing I noticed was that the feedback on when you actually hit them is pretty good. You can almost feel it. You get that little X there, makes a special sound. I love that. Although when you get hit, it seems like I don't notice that enough unless it's melee and it causes a flinch there, but I seem to lose health and not quite realize it a bunch, so make sure you're paying attention to your health bar. The reload time on like every weapon seems to take a serious amount of time, so make sure you are careful in trying to reload. I have died many times this way. Now, on the other hand, the AI actually seems to be quite a bit more intelligent than in other games we've played. This guy over here is hiding behind, he takes cover, and they're also smart enough to try and flank you. This guy tries to sprint after me, thinking I don't notice him. Luckily I catch it and we take him out. I also feel like there might be something to the targeting. Like you saw, I hit that guy in the head, he goes, I'm blind. You might be able to shoot him in the jetpack and cause him to like explode, dealing extra damage. Haven't tested like shooting people in the legs or anything, but it seems like there's some sort of effect. Now on stealth here, I don't have a suppressor or anything, but that guy saw me before I shot. I think the AI has some really good vision. I also don't have any points in stealth, but I kind of figured I'd be able to sneak up there. But one more thing on the AI, look, he tries to juke me out, jumps over the railing. I thought that was pretty smart of him. Now, we also have, see, I tried the jetpack thing and it doesn't work there, so I'm not sure. Somebody will have to let me know in the comments if there's something to that. I also really like this little mini menu thing that they got going on. You can loot on the go, take things out of this mini menu without opening up an interface or anything. People are still shooting me, action's still happening. Or you can do what any good RPG player would do and open a menu and level up mid-combat. And boy, do I love my skill trees. Ever since Final Fantasy X and the Sphere Grid, I can't wait to see what games will come out with for leveling up. Am I right, guys? Now, there are 5 categories. We have the physical tree, the social tree, the combat tree, the science tree, and the tech tree. Each tree has 4 tiers, requiring points in the above tier to be able to take any points in the next one down. And each perk has 4 levels to it. You can get perk 1 or level 1 just by taking the point in the tree, but to level it up to 2, 3, and 4, you need to complete a challenge that's relevant to the skill. Now, I have a couple things that I would recommend starting off, like one, the booster pack, the jetpack, super good and super useful all the time. Security is just one of my favorites. I love the thing, and I can't handle not being able to get into places. And weightlifting, because it's a Bethesda game, you're going to be carrying all sorts of stuff around, and you know it. But I want all of them. I keep finding myself with choice paralysis, and I save my perks because I don't even know what I want yet. Now, another good perk that I haven't explored too much yet, but it looks like Persuasion is very interesting and kind of fun. I just want to toss in a nice little mention for it here. You have green for easier choices, yellow for harder choices, red for difficult choices, depending on your level of persuasion. You need to get enough points to convince them. And it's just seems like it offers a lot of options and a little more depth to the game, so I'm probably going to explore this one more, but it looks nice and it comes up frequently enough that I think it's important. Now, if you're not good at persuasion, you'll probably just fail most of these like I did, but I bet if you succeed, it kind of leads to some fun choices. But for now, I'm going to have to fight this guy, and we'll get a little bit more combat stuff here. Again, I think security, weightlifting, jetpack are all super cool ones, but there are combat perks as well that I think are probably quite important. Also, check out this grenade toss in a second. This is right into the bucket. And one. Pretty fun. Now, this game is so entertaining. I sit down and I find myself playing it for, hours longer than I expected to every time I log in. It's such a good game. All the aspects are great. Maybe we could improve on the flying aspects and the freedom there with some updates or some mods even, perhaps. But overall, I think this game is wonderful, and check it out. A legendary piece of equipment. I just wanted to show this one off. I got a spacesuit. Now, these things are all like randomly generated, so you just kind of happen across it whenever it happens. You get a legendary item or a rare or an epic. It's not tied to certain characters, it seems like. You just happen across them, but looky there, kind of early on for me to be getting one, I feel like, but very cool, very cool. So just as a recap of this whole thing I've done, this game delivers on the promises that it's made, and it delivers them with a bug-free experience on day one. I could not believe that I logged into this game after downloading it and didn't experience any issues. Well, that's not true. I at one point had installed it onto the wrong drive. Make sure you have it on your solid state drive, otherwise you're not going to have a good time. But if you can run this game, you are in for endless hours of fun. It combines the best of both Skyrim and Fallout, like New Vegas in particular, to give us an experience that has the best of both, the exploration and hugeness that was Skyrim and all the hours there, plus all the dialogue and all the lore and all the characters from Fallout. It does all of those things so well, and while you're on a planet, like, everything's free game. Like, I just scaled a big building here in the main city. I see all these trees out here on the horizon, and I could just jump the gate. I can get out there and go explore, and that's what you need to do in this game. You need to just buckle up, head out into the worlds, and see what you find. We all would have different experiences. Not everything is exactly the same per person. You might find things in places where they don't exist for me. You might even go to entirely different planets than me or than your friends, and we all will find something different, and we all will find something in here, and it's up to you to get out and explore. The world is huge, so I recommend you get in your spaceship and you blast off and you see what Starfield has for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. But until then, don't forget to have fun. Peace.